Good afternoon. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive, and welcome to the Westchester Weekly Update. Today is Monday, January 29th. We're coming to the end of the first month of the year, and as we do that, we're going to give you an update on a couple of key issues that are important that's happening right now in Westchester County. We have some guests here from our Department of Emergency Services, and our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, will lead us into that discussion that we want to share information. We're going to talk about a new artwork display that's on board at the County Center, and then also give you the preview that's upcoming, that basketball is back again at the County Center for the Section 1 championships that are coming up in about a month's time. Ken will also update all the different parks things that we have coming up. We're a couple of days away from Groundhog Day. We don't have a groundhog, but we have a chicken, and we'll tell you more about that in a second. And hopefully you'll have a chance to see some of the things we're doing. We're going to start out with our municipal partner visitor. He is the most frequent visitor to join us here. He is the mayor of the city of White Plains, 60+ thousand people in this city, and it's a dynamic community. It is the center of Westchester County activities for the county government, but also for so many businesses and shopping and nightlife and so many things that really make it the center of the county, both geographically and in other ways. Tom Roach has been mayor now for over a decade. He's done a brilliant job, recently recognized by a national organization for the public art that's been on display here in White Plains and the sensitivity to that as part of the urban landscape. And he and the people on the Common Council have done a terrific job in the city of White Plains. So we're happy to have him back, give you the latest on what's happening in White Plains, the Honorable Mayor of the city of White Plains, Thomas Roach. Tom, thanks for coming back again.
Thank you, George.
Thank you very much.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here always, and it is easy for me to come over. It's just a block and a half away, and you know, we work so often with the county on so many different projects, and that's the first thing that would pop into my mind today to talk about. This year we were certified as a bronze climate smart community, which is something we worked for. It only goes up to silver. So I'm friends with the mayor of Hastings, and so she helped me do the paperwork here. But we got everything done. We have a lot of EVs, we have a huge solar installation, but we also worked with the county because we had started a food scrap recycling program where people could bring their food scraps to our Gedney yard, where we have a lot of services there. It's where we take a lot of fabric, it's where we take metal, but we also distribute mulch and topsoil and firewood to our residents. We decided that rather than have it trucked, we would like to do it on site, do the actual composting on site to make it a greener process. And we worked with the county on that. We're at with an expert from the county who helped guide us and put together a very simple machine. Basically we used reused pipe from other projects, but ran it through the pile, and it actually accelerates the decomposition, reduces the methane release, and produces a better product. So that was a great partnership we had with the county. We've also, as was mentioned by George, we were recognized for our work with the arts. We're very fortunate, just as we're fortunate to have county government in our city, we also have the home of Arts Westchester in our city. So the fact that we're a block away, I've spoken about it. Literally, there have been times when I have called Janet, or Janet has called me, and we have a meeting 10 minutes later about something that is an opportunity or something we can do for the city. And that's helped us along the way with everything from the Serious Fun Arts Festival to the Jazz Fest, which every year gets bigger and better. Some of the other things that we've been working on is we opened a Veterans Memorial Garden behind City Hall that incorporated a deck gun from the United States ship Maine that was sunk in Havana Harbor during the Spanish-American War. And we put that in because it had been in storage for many years and created a nice garden area. Our City Hall is our Veterans Memorial, and so having the garden there really fits in well. We also this year announced and opened what we're calling the pollinator habitat on Tarrytown Road. It's a big open area with a cotton tree in the center of it. There had been a parking lot, not in my lifetime, but I hear that there used to be a car dealer there or something like that. But rather than just do the usual, we wanted to restore it to what it might have been before we all got here. So we planted native trees, native plants, and it's going to be an ongoing effort, but that is a beautiful place for people to spend time, even this time of year. I wouldn't be speaking if I didn't talk about pickleball. So we opened up some pickleball courts at the Battle Hill School, and that's been Battle Hill Park at Battle Hill School, which has been very popular. We've received a lot of federal funding lately. Under the Biden administration has changed a lot of policies. It's much easier for local governments to receive direct assistance. We received a $400,000 grant. We are in the process right now of working with that money to do a study of our downtown. It's called Safe Streets for All, or SS4A, and that is going to allow us then to move on to the rollout, and that is also something we can apply for grants. But that's a big change from what used to be. We applied, we got the money, surprised, and we're working on that right now. We also received $1 million to plant trees in the city over the next 5 years, and that's another pleasant surprise. It's $100 million over 5 years, and when they told me that we had got this $1 million, I was very happy, my staff, and then someone said, "Don't get too excited." I said, "Why not?" And they said, "Well, it's $200,000 a year for 5 years." And I said, "Why am I not excited still? How many trees can I plant at one time?" So that went very well, and that's something we can look forward to here in the city this year as we start to roll that out. And we just had a really good year. A lot of new buildings have opened, a lot of housing. We require 12% in our buildings. They can go lower in percentages if they drop the AMI, which is the threshold for the rent, and they can also buy out, but that buyout fund we are going to be using to create some units, and the next time I come, I'll probably be able to talk about a big project we're working on. I'll just finish up on something else we worked closely with the county on, which was hopefully to come senior housing behind the Board of Elections, and that has been something that we've worked closely with the county on, and we're hoping to also do some work across the street where we will create an opportunity for a new community center for the residents of that building, but also for the residents of our city, and a new place for seniors. We finished up with a beautiful, this year, with a beautiful celebration of the ball drop here in downtown White Plains, again with county's participation, both physically in terms of security and also with the IDA helping us make it happen. So with that, I'll give it back to the county executive.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you, George.
Thank you very much. Mayor Tom Roach of the City of White Plains. We're very happy to have his partnership and the government of the City of White Plains. It is our home base here in the county. I've worked here in White Plains in some capacity or another for almost 20 years. It's a wonderful city, and Tom, thank you for your leadership of it, and the members of the city, the Common Council as well. So Ken Jenkins is going to join me as we go into a few other different issues to cover with you today. We're going to have a press conference in a little while after this one is over, and we're going to be on site at Westchester County Center, where we're going to be displaying in our Westchester Sports Hall of Fame some artwork that's been created by Maxwell Pierce. Maxwell Pierce is a professional athlete. He's an entrepreneur and a mixed media artist who grew up in Tuckahoe. He has a career with the Harlem Globetrotters. He's played with them since 2018, but he also creates historical and contemporary mixed media sculptures, and we're very happy to have one on display. This is a wonderful way to connect through the arts with young people who have both a love for sports, but also want to express those feelings that can only be expressed through artistic achievement. And kids in Tuckahoe benefit from Max Pierce and his work, and now all of us will by what's happening at the county center. We want to thank Mayor O'Meara Andino of the village of Tuckahoe, who suggested this a while back. We're very happy that our county parks, Recreation and Conservation Department, under the leadership of Kathy O'Connor and Peter Tartaglia, were able to bring this to fruition. You'll see more about it when we do the press conference in a little bit, but we're very, very proud of it. And since we're talking about the county center, put on your calendar that we are going to be back in the county center again for the Section 1 High School Basketball Championships. Now that starts a little under a month from now, Saturday, February 24th, and it runs through Sunday, March 3rd. The boys and girls basketball semifinals start on Saturday, February 24th, and goes through Wednesday the 28th. There is a snow date built into it if we have it happen. And of course, this year is a leap year. Therefore, we have February 29th as a day on the calendar in addition. And the boys and girls basketball finals will come on that period of time through Sunday, date May 3rd and a snow date of March 3rd, not May, March 3rd, and then a snow date of March 4th. And we're very excited about that. We made an effort, a very strong effort, a number of years ago to bring these tournaments back into the county center. It is the cathedral of high school basketball in this area. So we got it back in 2020. We'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the program. And then, of course, we lost it due to COVID-related issues where we had to use the county center as a vaccination center and the potential as a backup hospital. But we got them back in last year in 2023, and now they're here in 2024. It's a great sport. It's places where the Westchester Knicks played for a brief period of time. We had the New York Liberty there, headquartered there while they were in transition. And we're very happy now to spotlight high school basketball, which is a great coming together of young people as well as those who follow the community sports of their team. The football teams in the fall, the basketball teams in the winter are always part of that. So that's coming up in a little bit. Next, I'd like Ken to talk a little bit about our applications for part-time emergency medical technicians. We have some guests here with us from the Department of Emergency Services. Ken, take it away.
Thanks, George. And while we're doing that, we're going to ask our emergency services personnel that are here with us today. We're certainly being joined by Deputy Commissioner Susan Spear and Captain Carl Spitzfaden and a bunch of other great folks that we have from the Department of Emergency Services, led ably by Commissioner Richard Wishney. And this is an exciting program that is going to be recruiting candidates for part-time emergency medical technicians to help staff county parks, properties, and special events as needed throughout the year. And for that detail, we're going to turn it over to the pro, Susan Spear. I'll pull this out for you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I'm sorry.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Deputy County Executive Jenkins, County Executive Latimer. We so appreciate your support for the County EMS group and the emergency response work that they do, responding to people in immediate need of medical assistance. We are here today with a recruitment pitch for our County EMS team. County EMS provides emergency medical response for many county facilities and events. They're primarily assigned to our county parks. You have seen them at Playland, at Bicycle Sundays, Kensico Fireworks, the County Center, certainly for the basketball games, and more. It's a great rewarding job, especially in the summer. And you will get to work with some excellent professionals, Brett Roberts, Niall Sally, and Sam Stretz, which is a great benefit of the job. So let me introduce the leader of our County EMS team, Captain Kyle Spitzfaden. He will tell you more about County EMS, the job that they do, and how to apply. Thank you. I don't think you need this.
I don't. Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Spear. Gentlemen. As we go into the 2024 year, we're definitely looking to bolster our roster and make sure that we have enough providers on the team to ensure that we are able to disseminate the work we do across many platforms, as the Deputy Commissioner was just describing. We've been in operation for numerous decades and continue to push forward under a new directive in these past few years, which has been through incredible leadership, which we could never have thought about years before. But the work that we do, we're going out into the field and able to understand what the community at large would need through a county perspective. With that operation, we are looking for providers that understand the best interests of the patients and the community. These are people that are passionate about the work that can be done in the emergency field of medical in the field of emergency medicine. With that being said, our providers provide exceptional bedside manner while instrumentally providing patient advocacy at its finest. We're trying to ensure that our residents have the best possible care in the pre-hospital setting, and we have an incredible leadership team that's been able to make sure that that remains possible in a lot of different ways. We have the response vehicles that are necessary. We have the equipment that's necessary. We're going out into, as was described, Playland as our main summer operation, but we work with the Fire Academy at the Department of Emergency Services, where our headquarters is based. We work through relationships cultivated with the Parks Department, which are invaluable, which then make sure that our community is protected in every way we can. With all of that being said, the perfect candidate is someone who wants to give back, the person who wants to ensure that they are there to make a difference and work as a team, and we'll be there by your side every step of the way. With that, our application process is going to be as simple as possible. We just need you to call our EMS division office, where these fine people are every single day of the week, 914-231-1616, 914-231-1616. You're also welcome to just show up at Fordana Road and speak with any one of them. We're more than happy to provide any further information and help you along in the application process. Our operations are all year round. So we're not just looking for people who are dedicated to the summer operations, but that's where we try to bolster our roster and our provider cache to ensure that we can cover every event that is sent our way. We are going to be looking into how we make changes going into the future and want the appropriate people on our team to make sure that it's the best possible course of action. We look forward to seeing you guys apply, and we'll see you out in the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We want to definitely thank all of our professionals that are here from the Department of Emergency Services, and specifically in this particular program for the part-time emergency medical technicians. And those staff folks, as both the captain and Deputy Commissioner pointed out, are essential to making sure that all of the great events that we have going on throughout our county parks, and whether it's at Playland in the summer, whether it's any of the cultural heritage days that we have going on, but even when it's the Westchester Knicks, or whether it's just the folks that are going to be at the County Center for Section 1 basketball, or any other events that we have there. This is a critical time to get those folks up to date. So again, take a look on the website that we had scrolling at the bottom of the screen, emergencyservices.westchestergov.com, as well, to be able to participate. Try not to just show up at the door, or even though the folks that are there will certainly answer the questions, but it's much better to fill out those applications online and make a phone call to have that happen. So we want to thank everyone for their work in this EMS, emergency medical technicians that partner with so many different agencies to provide the safety and security all of us need. So thanks a lot, everyone. Right, we really appreciate the work, and we'll see you all soon. So. With that, we're going to turn back over to the county executive to have some more conversation on the things that we have going on in the county. George.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you very much. And again, thanks to our EMS professionals for all the work they do. And we hope that we'll get more people to join and to be part of this dynamic environment. We want to highlight that we're coming into Heart Health Month. It's the month of February. It's sponsored by the American Heart Association, and it's the 20th anniversary. They entitle it Go Red for Women Initiative. It seeks to end heart disease and stroke in women. That's why this Friday, February 2nd, we're asking you to join in taking part in National Wear Red Day. I put a note in my calendar because I might forget. I don't want you to forget. Unfortunately, many women do underestimate their risk for cardiovascular disease. Sometimes they falsely think that heart disease only affects men, and it is prominent for men, but the reality is that 1 in 3 women die of heart disease and stroke, and that makes cardiovascular disease the leading cause of death for women in the United States and here in Westchester County. So in addition to participating in National Wear Red Day to highlight the issue, we ask that you go through Heart Health Month by doing some of the following things. Number 1, get your numbers. You can't imagine what you don't, and you can't manage what you don't measure. And measuring blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, body mass index are all necessary things to be able to know where you are in the continuum, and if you need to do work to lower numbers to make them healthier numbers. We have to, and this is, I'm telling myself as well as I'm telling you have to own your lifestyle. Eating right, being active, harder to do with each passing year, harder to do when you have a busy schedule, career, family needs, but it's important to get enough sleep, to eat well, and to exercise, to manage stress, and to connect with other people socially to help relieve some of that stress. Realize your own risk. Some risk factors we can't change: age, race, family history. Some of the ones that we can impact, blood pressure, cholesterol, weight, and more, can be treated. They can be managed, they can be controlled with the help of your healthcare providers. So make sure that you have those discussions and determine what it is you can do to deal with that. Educate your family. Make healthy food choices for you and your family. Incorporate heart-healthy foods. berries, grains, vegetables into each meal, and teach your kids the importance of staying active. It's harder today than when I was younger because you have so many more distractions that involve being in the house, sedentary, working on your phone, electronic things. And the more those things are there, the more you have to push and make sure the kids get out and start to adopt this healthy lifestyle. And then finally, don't be silent. Tell every woman you know that heart disease is the #1 killer of women, and encourage them to visit a healthcare provider to assess their risk through a simple checkup. Together, we can educate others about the important heart health, and the more we're educated, the more we act proactively, the less likely it is that we have some of the worst circumstances that will come from ignoring these things. If you'd like more information on how to go red, you can visit www.goredforwomen.org, or Heart Healthy Tips, you can visit our website, westchestergov.com/health, and that will give you some of the information that you need to have. So that is coming up in this period of time of February. Separately, February is also a month where we're going to be celebrating other things. We'll talk about our Lunar New Year celebration in a little bit, but all of the month of February is Black History Month. We're going to have a celebration and recognition of Black history here in our McCallion office building complex on Monday, February 12th at 6 p.m. There'll be invitations out to those who are with prominent organizations in the Black community. You can communicate with us regarding that at communications@westchestercountyny.gov. We've set the date for a week, Monday, February 5th. We'll give you more information about that, but we think it's an important highlight. And in a month where we have many things that we're going to be highlighting, Black History Month is an important one for us to show what the contribution of our African-American brothers and sisters have been in the American experience, and what has happened in the past that we have to look at honestly and go forward from a position of reality and try to correct things as we go forward. So Black History Month is an important step in that direction. Next, we go to our various parks. I'm going to let Ken tell you about the chicken that's going to lay the egg on Groundhog Day. Ken, it's all yours, my friend. All yours.
Well, thanks a lot, George. And certainly we have our continuing work going on our nationally accredited and award-winning park system. We have to say that all the time to remind everyone of how great your park system is, with over 50 different entities in Westchester County for anything to go on. So the 30th, this Tuesday, tomorrow night, 30th, from 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. at the Westchester County Center. It's the Westchester County Cheerleading Invitational. There's fees and pre-registration that's required. Certainly, you want to make sure to get in your tickets for that particular item. But again, for the Cheerleading Invitational at the County Center tomorrow, Tuesday the 30th, from 5 to 9:30 p.m. On Friday, it's a highlight for all of us, which is Groundhog Day at Muscoot Farm. That's going to be at 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and we will absolutely have the opportunity to see if Cluxatani Henrietta has laid an egg or not, to identify whether it's going to be in early spring. You certainly can enjoy some treats and activities after the celebration. It is definitely a fun activity. Both the county executive and myself have had the honor of participating in that ceremony, and this will be no different this year. Friday, February 12th, that goes from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Alfred B. Del Bello Muscoot Farms up in Somers. On Saturday, in Lenoir Preserve in Yonkers, from 1 to 2:30, we're going to have a history tour. And Lenoir has a very interesting historical background with centuries of fascinating owners and various uses for the land. Join us in the county, in the Parks, Recreation, and Conservation Department, for a walk around the preserve to learn all about it. It's free. It's for ages 8 and older. And certainly it'll be an opportunity for all of us to have a great time in our nationally accredited award-winning park system. I almost forgot to mention, because Rosie Finenzio would not allow me not to do that we are continuing our Little Explorers program on the 30th as well, up in Muscoot Farm in Somers, and that's from 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. So that gives you an opportunity for the children 3 to 5 years old to enjoy a fun morning of stories, crafts, and animal and nature activities. With that, we're going to turn back to George, County Exec.
Thank you again, Ken. We're going to close out our report with a brief remembrance. I mentioned earlier that we're going to be back in the county center for the third time in the last few years. We hope now we're going to be back in for keeps with our Section 1 high school basketball tournament. And I had the opportunity to look through my calendars that I keep over time to see where we were when we first were able to do that. The county center basketball tournament was for many years in the county center. It ended over some negotiating issues. When we came into office in 2018, we began a negotiating process that culminated in bringing the tournament back into the arena in 2020. And 4 years ago, right at this time, the last week of January, that was one of the things that we were celebrating and highlighting. We also had an issue come up in that week that you may recall. There was a proposal by the governor of Connecticut to establish toll booths on I-684. Now, there's a piece of I-684 that goes to the state of Connecticut, and he was discussing with the Connecticut legislature the willingness to put toll booths there, which would basically affect Westchester County residents. Well, 4 years later, we know the toll booths weren't there. We dispatched Carolyn Fortino from our team to go up to Connecticut. She's a Connecticut resident, to go up to Hartford to testify before the legislature, and we appreciate the fact that the Connecticut State Legislature chose not to move in that direction, so there's no toll booths on I-684. That's an example of one of the things that you didn't want to happen that didn't happen, and that was an issue on our plate 4 years ago. And we had a meeting during that week in which Ken, myself, Joan McDonald, Emily Saltzman, a few other of our executives met with our commissioner of the Department of Health, Charlita Amler, Dr. Charlita Amler. And she was briefing us on news reports that we had heard about something that was happening across the world in China, in the city of Wuhan. I had to go to the atlas to see where Wuhan was. I was aware of Beijing and Shanghai and Hong Kong, but wasn't aware of Wuhan as a city, major city in China, and that there was the first signs of a disease that was communicable that was happening. We all know now that was the very first inkling, the canary in the tunnel of what became the COVID crisis that was to sweep over this country. And over the course of the next few weeks, we found out just how important it was. We had a major outbreak in Westchester County, and then that completely affected the way we operated through the year of 2020 into 2021 with vaccinations. You know the whole story. No need to relive all of it. COVID is still with us. We're managing it. It is still a disease. It is still a deadly disease, but at a much, much less lower level than it was at that time. But the important insight that I had when we were talking about Groundhog Day, the basketball tournament, and the possibility of tolls on I-684, something that didn't seem important to us all of a sudden became a central reality for us. And that's a message for us in government, but it's a message for us in life. We don't know what's around the corner. We don't know what's going to happen later today. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. The effort is to try to be prepared for whatever comes and make sure that we have professionals in place that will handle it when it arises. That is the whole function of the Department of Emergency Services, and they do that brilliantly. And that's the function of the Department of Health and the function of the Department of Public Safety. And you go through all of our different departments that have the potential for some issue to arise that could become a central organizing issue. And if we're not prepared to deal with it, then we're going to suffer. And if we do our job well, sometimes the problem that doesn't happen, like toll booths that don't happen, wind up being the end story. But even if the pandemic does come, and even if the next crisis comes, our commitment is to try to be ready, to try to be on the firing lines with professionals who do what they do for a living and do it well, and to protect you, because that is the function of government, to protect you, to give you a baseline of services and things that will allow you to live your life the way you want to live. You want to live your life with your career. You want to live your life with your family. You want to be able to do the things you want to do in your free time. And you want to be able to do that knowing that certain things will work effectively. Garbage will be picked up. The roads will be functional. On and on and on. All those different things that make up your life. And I never know which little meeting, remembering back to that one 4 years ago, could turn into something much larger and greater. Hopefully, we'll be diligent, and hopefully we'll be on the job every day. I'm George Latimer, Westchester County Executive. Thanks for watching. We'll look forward to showing you the Maxwell Pierce artwork in the next opportunity we have to communicate with you. And I gather we'll be back again a week from today. By then, we'll know whether we have 6 weeks of winter. Have a great day.